11.5 million files, 214,000 shell companies, and hidden inside them, the secrets of the world's most powerful people.
A massive document leak out of Panama has revealed how world leaders and the rich and powerful may be hiding billions of dollars.
This wasn't just another leak, not WikiLeaks, not Snowden. This was bigger. It crossed borders, toppled leaders, and exposed a system of secrecy that has shaped the world we live in. But we'll come back to that later.
Prime ministers named, celebrities exposed, protests erupting. The Panama Papers weren't just about money. They were about power, betrayal, and how far the elite will go to keep their fortunes hidden.
It began with a whisper, a stranger reaching out to a German newspaper, Süddeutsche Zeitung. The source called themselves John Doe. No meetings, no phone calls, just a message. I have more data than you've ever seen. At first, the journalist thought it might be a hoax, but soon files began to pour in, emails, scanned documents, contracts, bank transfers, then entire hard drives. In the end, it was 11.5 million documents, 2.6 terabytes of data, the largest leak in history. But how could they be sure it was real? How could they trust a ghost?
Süddeutsche Zeitung began verifying piece by piece. They cross-checked names, companies, transactions, and the more they checked, the more it lined up. They quickly realized the scale was far too large for one newsroom. So they called in the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists, the ICIJ. Suddenly, hundreds of reporters across dozens of countries were working in secret, connected by encrypted servers, sifting through the files. It was the biggest collaboration in the history of journalism. And inside the documents, they found something explosive. But we'll discuss that later.
To understand the scandal, you first have to understand offshore secrecy. A shell company is nothing more than paper. It might exist in the British Virgin Islands, Panama, or the Cayman Islands. On paper, it has a director, sometimes even an office address. But in reality, it has no employees, no products, no services. Its only purpose? To hide who really owns the money. These companies are stacked like Russian dolls. A shell in Panama owned by a trust in Liechtenstein, controlled by another shell in the Seychelles. Follow the chain long enough and the trail runs cold. To lawyers, this is asset protection. To billionaires, it's privacy. But for ordinary people, it means the rich play by different rules. And the Panama Papers revealed just how enormous this hidden world really was. But the real shock wasn't how it worked. It was who was inside. We'll get to that soon. But why Panama? Why did the biggest leak in history emerge from this tiny nation in Central America? The answer lies in Panama's history. For over a century, the Panama Canal made this country a global hub of trade. Ships from around the world passed through. The US dollar became its currency. With trade came banks. With banks came secrecy.
In the 1970s, a German lawyer, Jürgen Mossack, joined forces with a Panamanian politician and novelist Ramon Fonseca. Together, they built a law firm that would become the face of offshore secrecy, Mossack Fonseca. Their business was simple. If you wanted a shell company, they created it. If you wanted a trust, they arranged it. If you wanted to move money quietly across borders, they could make it happen. Over 4 decades, they created more than 200,000 companies, trusts, and foundations. They promised discretion. They promised confidentiality. And their clients were some of the richest and most powerful people in the world. Panama embraced this industry. Offshore finance pumped money into the economy. It became part of the nation's identity. But when the Panama Papers exploded, that identity shattered. And the world learned exactly who had been hiding their wealth. But we'll explore that in just a moment. When the first stories broke in April 2016,
so-called Panama Papers.
Panama Papers, a massive leak of documents from a firm in Panama City called Mossack Fonseca.
The massive amount of data was first leaked to German newspaper Süddeutsche Zeitung. It was shared with the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists.
The names shook the world. Iceland's Prime Minister, Sigmundur David Gunnlaugsson.
We saw
protests in Iceland, in Malta, in Sierra Leone and in Pakistan.
Relatives of China's president, Xi Jinping, close friends of Vladimir Putin, and Lionel Messi, one of the most famous athletes alive. The leaks didn't discriminate. Politicians, royals, celebrities, business tycoons, all exposed.
In Iceland, the reaction was immediate. Protesters flooded Reykjavik, banging pots and pans, demanding the Prime Minister's resignation.
Thousands of Icelanders took to the streets calling on the Prime Minister to resign.
Within days, he stepped down, the first major political casualty of the Panama Papers.
We just had some breaking news, and that is that the Icelandic Prime Minister, Mr. Gunnlaugsson, has now stood down.
Elsewhere, leaders scrambled to deny, explain, or deflect. Some said they had done nothing illegal. Others stayed silent, but the damage was done. For the first time, ordinary people could see, in black and white, how the elite hid their fortunes. And this was only the beginning. The real fallout was yet to come. In Pakistan, the papers tied companies and luxury London apartments to the family of Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif. The case reached the Supreme Court, and in 2017, the judges delivered their verdict. Sharif was disqualified from office. It was a dramatic moment. A prime minister removed not by voters, but by documents leaked from Panama.
In Malta, investigative journalist Daphne Caruana Galizia followed the Panama Trail back to her own government, uncovering offshore companies linked to top officials.
On October 16, 2017, she was assassinated by a car bomb outside her home. Her death shocked Europe and became a symbol of the danger faced by those who expose corruption.
Her killing sparked mass protests, the resignation of Malta's prime minister, and an international call for justice.
It was an act of collective anger. Protesters upset over the assassination of journalist Daphne Caruana Galizia called for the resignation of the island nation's police commissioner.
But her work didn't die with her. Journalists around the world continued her investigations under the Daphne Project.
For every leader who resigned, for every scandal that dominated headlines, there were many more who escaped untouched. The Panama Papers revealed the system, but revelation did not equal justice. And if you thought the scandal ended there, you'd be wrong. We'll come back to that.
At the center of it all was Mossack Fonseca. The firm insisted it had done nothing wrong. They said they simply offered services that were legal under international law, but their reputation was beyond repair. Governments raided their offices, clients vanished. By 2018, Mossack Fonseca had collapsed.
To many, it looked like a victory. The law firm that symbolized offshore secrecy was gone. But secrecy is bigger than one company. When Mossack fell, the business simply shifted elsewhere. To Singapore, to Dubai, to Luxembourg, the system adapted. Because secrecy is not an accident, it is an industry. And the Panama Papers proved just how resilient that industry is. So the real question became, if the Panama Papers couldn't stop it, what could? We'll return to that in a moment. In the months after the leak, governments promised reform. New laws, new rules, new pledges, but enforcement was weak. Banks kept taking dirty money, tax havens kept opening new shells, and the rich kept finding new loopholes.
The Panama Papers were only the beginning. In 2017 came the Paradise Papers, 13 million more documents exposing offshore dealings of politicians, royals, and corporations. And in 2021 came the Pandora Papers, the largest leak yet, implicating over 300 politicians in more than 90 countries. Each leak was bigger. Each one proved that secrecy didn't die with Panama. It evolved. And if you think the story ended with Pandora, think again. But we'll save that for another episode.
Today, experts estimate that trillions of dollars remain hidden offshore, money that could build schools, hospitals, infrastructure. Instead, it's locked away in trusts, shell companies, and secret accounts. The Panama Papers pulled back the curtain, but the play behind it, the world of offshore secrecy, continues. The Panama Papers were supposed to change everything. Instead, they revealed just how deeply corruption is woven into the global economy.
Because behind every fortune, lies a scandal.
Subscribe for more investigations into the scandals, money trails, and power plays shaping our world. Because only by following the money can we expose the truth.